Hey, welcome back everybody. So episode 15, what's a 1 and a 5 of our VW Bug Chronicles, trying to get Myrna here going. When we last left off, I believe I had put the fuel regulator on. We had run some tests and the fuel pump was putting out about 6 PSI, and really Myrna here should be below 2. Now with the fuel regulator, it should be about, I've got it set at 2.5. So hopefully that solves that problem. And today I was planning to pull the fuel pump off. I've watched several videos that talk about the possibility of that black spacer, I forget what it's called, heating up and swelling and locking the push rod into place, not allowing any fuel to get to the car and potentially just vapor, I suppose. And then she won't start again, and of course until she cools off, which means that plunger is dropped back down. And then I noticed something else today. The intake fuel line heading to the pump, which is metal, has been resting on the exhaust manifold. Now, as you know, that exhaust manifold gets hot as she warms up. So now I'm wondering if I need to start her, get the fuel line raised up, which I've already done, off the manifold. You know, the modern fuels boil way faster than the old fuels. Maybe that's been the problem the whole time. I just didn't see it. Because when the fuel boils, I believe it starts to separate, creating that vapor, and the vapor is gonna rise first, and that's what's choking out the carb. And same problem, everything's got to cool back down, i.e. the fuel, and maybe that rod. So I think, should I, before I pull this whole pump apart and start futzing with it, maybe we should start her again here and see what happens now that I've got that fuel line moved up. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I haven't cut the zip tie yet, but you can see right here this was the fuel line here, and it was resting on the manifold there. So I've just simply zip tied it to the fan housing, and it is no longer touching or laying on the exhaust manifold. So I think that's good. I'm not sure that using a zip tie is the best solution, but it'll work for now. Yeah, you know what? Let's start her and see what happens. Maybe I don't need to take apart. I kind of think I do, but let's try this first before we get too far into it. So let's wait 5 minutes and we'll see if she starts. Okay, 10 minutes has passed, 10, 11 minutes. Let's see if she starts. Rinse and repeat. So Myrna's been running again for about another 5 minutes. No apparent issues. So I think I can do one of two things. I can kill her and see if she starts right back up, or I can kill her and wait another 5 minutes, which is what I think I'm going to do, and see if she starts. So we'll check back in 5. So about 12 minutes has passed, and I bet she's not going to start, because at the base of the carburetor, or the top of the intake manifold, I can see some moisture there. You can't from this spot, but trust me, it's there, which means fuel is pushing through. So maybe the float bowl, it's pushed past the float bowl and seat again. I'm not sure, but let's crank her and see if she starts. But 8 to 5, I bet she doesn't start. So, can you guys see the moisture there? There shouldn't be any moisture. I don't know if you can see it, but it's wet. Yeah, maybe right. That, no bueno. So, I don't know what that means, other than perhaps the gasket's no good, but we definitely aren't starting. So we're gonna pull this fuel pump off. I'm gonna have to wait for this vehicle to cool down, but our next step is to pull that pump off and sand that spacer down like I've read and been told to do, and we'll see if that solves the problem. What I should do is just buy a new goddamn motor. Work. I don't know. So Myrna has cooled down, and it's time to try to remove this fuel pump, because what we want to get to is this plastic black spacer, which has a plastic shaft that we're supposedly supposed to sand down, that is going to solve all of my woes and problems. But much to my chagrin, getting this pump off isn't going to be as easy as the videos make it. Now you see this silver bladder right here? See how it's at an angle? Well, the problem is, with this 13mm socket that I have, I can't even get it on to take that nut off. The angle is too great. There's just no way to get a socket on there. Now for this front nut, no big deal. I can just use a wrench and easy peasy, she'll come right off. But that back nut back in there, I have the same problem with the socket that I do here in the front. Even with a universal joint, it actually compounds the problem. And I can't get a wrench on there, because where the exhaust manifold comes through, you can't get even if you got a bite, you've got no movement. So the only way, at least I gotta sit and think about it, to get to that back nut is to pull off that distributor cap. Now, I've never pulled a distributor cap before, or excuse me, the whole distributor, not just the cap. I've never pulled the distributor out before. It makes me a little nervous. Not sure I'm prepared to do that, at least not today. So, I'm not sure. I got to think about it for a second. Never a break. So our challenge is we've got on the low side that nut, what's that, 3/4 of an inch, say? Thereabouts. So it'll be a little more than that. It'll be the same in the back, on the back nut. Here's what I found on Amazon. One second. And purchased. If I get the... You can see the head is only... Well, it's only 0.3 inches deep. That should work. Overall, it's 1.2 inches, so it's very, very small. That should allow us to get into that back corner, I think. It was 11 bucks. It should be here tomorrow, so we'll start again, I guess, next Saturday, because I'm not prepared to pull that distributor out. Right, wrong, good, or bad. But we'll get there. So, in this world, when you could be anything you want, you be kind, you be humble, and you be forgiving, and we'll see you in episode 16. Thanks for watching. Bye.